Saturday night's main event, November 2025, whatever we call it, is officially in the books. And if you were under any illusions that Drew McIntyre was going to win the WWE title, the first match was Cody Rhodes versus Drew. I was like, there is no way the biggest prize in WWE is going to change hands when you are match one on SNME Nov 25. Which sounds like some kind of disease your doctor would tell you, be like, nah! Also, hello my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs for Saturday night's main event. My name is Simon Miller, I am the board a-hole, and I have the finger of power. When I like something, we say up. When I don't like something, I say down. You then ignore the downs and tell me I only give ups to shows. It's a very strange predicament that's been going on for almost 10 years. Now, lock yourself in. Remember to tell me how wrong I am in the comments. Let's review Saturday night's main event. The first thing Drew McIntyre did is he told Lillian Garcia, oh hi, maybe you should announce me as the real comptroller, the real American Dream. I was like, we probably should have let into that story more rather than just bring it up on SmackDown that happened 24 hours before this. But what I really did like is that you did have the stipulation that Drew could win the title by DQ or he could win it by countout. So how did he spend all of his time trying to get Cody Rhodes counted out or trying to get him disqualified? Because Drew McIntyre is a smart Scottish person. Drew was even trying to use the referee as sort of a weapon at one point, so I'm not entirely sure how that would have worked. And the best near fall is when, Cody Rhodes went flying through Alan the announce table, and he got back in the ring at like 9.9999. I just called that a near fall. That's not a near fall at all. But I did think to myself, if you were going to do it, you would do it that way. But once again, I guess the real shame here, the jeopardy wasn't there. I never totally thought that Drew McIntyre was going to win. And it did make me kind of a sad panda, because what the flub do you do with Drew now? But also, I've told this before, I love Cody Rhodes. Having a nice person as a beloved babyface, where you rarely get it in modern wrestling, so I'm happy to run it into the ground. I also really enjoyed the fact that when Drew McIntyre realized his plan wasn't working, he just bit Cody like he was 4 years old. And yes, eventually the referee got squished in the corner, so Drew went, I'm gonna get the WWE title belt. And this is when the controversy sprung up from the ground like a snake. Now before that, there was this weird spot where Cody went for a Cody cut-up. I think the referee got in the way because he had kind of hit into the turnbuckle, then he just fell down like, oh, my poor knee. And then seconds after this, he did hit a super Cody cutter. I think it was just one of those things where everything did fall down when they got back to it. And that is going to be one of the messages I do send out during today's Ups and Downs. Wrestlers are allowed to make mistakes. And that doesn't all of a sudden make them the worst wrestler ever. In fact, sometimes the only person that should come out and tell us if they're the worst wrestler ever is the wrestler they've just wrestled, because who's going to know more than them? Now, going back to that championship, Drew did try to hit Cody, but Cody got out of the way before they smashed into each other. And actually, Drew McIntyre then hit a version of the Claymore, but he was only able to get a 1-2-ooh, and actually fair play to the commentators, because they were like, ugh, he wasn't able to do his run-up this time, and if he was able to do that, that could have been the end. Which essentially meant it sucks to be you, Drew. You tried and failed. We then kind of tied it into what we did with Kevin Owens a few months ago on Saturday's main event, or I suppose almost a year ago. But I want to wait and see with this because I think it may actually be something Drew McIntyre leans into. But as the championship was now on the floor, Cody Rhodes did a DDT. And can you believe it, by accident, but maybe on purpose, we do not know. Drew McIntyre's head went into that thing. Cody looked around, the referee wasn't back up, he hit the crossroads, and he got the 1-2-3. Now, I find myself in a very difficult predicament because I am going to give that a down, but it's only because of what's happened in 2025. Every other time someone has been beaten by the crossroads, let me check my notes, the crossroads have been hit in 42,691 times. So when he does win with one, it doesn't work anymore. So we need to fix this issue, and you can tie that into the main event as well. We'll talk about that later. But in 2026, finishers need to become finishers again. And yes, I get it, this was a good way to start that process, and also on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre be like, Cody, you used the championship, I can't believe it, and he will make a good point, which yes, does lean into his character of, I may be a dickhead, but I always tell the truth. I am massively intrigued to see what's next though, and I actually think WWE is going to lean on the fact that at Survivor Series we do have war games, because you can have Drew and Cody on opposite teams, which means they are still feuding, but the belt ain't going to be up for grabs. And after that, well, unless we are finally going to bring Randy Orton back to TV and turn him heel, I do not know. But in terms of an opener, and what is kind of a PLE, but not really, that rhymes so it must be true, I am giving it an up. Ultimately, I had a good time. When WWE made a major call, and it was 100% the right one, because of course Jade Cargill turned heel a couple of weeks ago, she ruined Tiffany Stratton's leg, So Tiffany Stratton came into her World Championship match with a gammy wound or something like that, and Jade felt to herself, you know what, I should take advantage of that. So she totally murked her. I mean, even when Stratton was able to dodge and get to the top rope, Cargill was like, nope, and essentially threw her face into the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And that was the entirety story of this match. I don't think Stratton got any kind of real offense in. There was no Tiffy time. It was just Jade going, yeah, look at that bicep, I'm jacked. And there was a cool callback in the sense that Tiffany eventually used some of the still steps. And yes, that's how Jade got that massive scar on her face. When they got back into the ring, Cargill hit the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, the Blue Thunder Bomb. Well, I screwed that up, didn't I? Let's rewind. The least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the Blue Thunder Bomb. Did it work? Of course it didn't. I can't go so gung-ho now because I've made myself look like an idiot. More so. From there, though, seriously, Tiffany did kick out, so Jade was like, all right, I'm going to hit you with a power bomb. Maybe I'll hit you with another power bomb. When she scored with the Jade, she got the 1, 2, 3. She became the champion, and in the background there was a big pyrotechnic display to let you know something big had happened. But I sat there in my chair and I thought, yes, this was the right thing to do. Jade Cargill now feels like the final boss. It's also essential as well because if somebody is going to go bad guy, you need to justify that moral stance by saying, well, I told you this would work. And listen, you just have to play to people's strengths sometimes. Not every single main event type match needs to go on for 25 years. You can do it in 5 minutes, you can do it in 10 minutes. Just look at what you have on a piece of paper and book to suit. That's what I kind of felt like we'd done here. And I was very sports entertained. And I'm very excited to see what Jade Cargill is going to do. And also, Tiffany Stratton had that title long enough. This was just pulling the trigger at the right time. It's getting him up. I was a big fan of it. When we kept things creative, and honestly, surely Dominik Mysterio is now just a babyface, because he was defending his Intercontinental title against Rusev and Penta, and this man was just a barrel of laughs, and they all had their working shoes on. At one point, Penta hit the Penta driver on Rusev, and that mother hubbard went so high in the air, kind of made me all go heebie-jeebie, because when Penta does the Penta driver, he always tucks their neck at the last second. But my gosh, that was brilliant. It's also really funny because Dominik has been a dick recently, so instantly Penta and Rusev went to beat him up, when of course Rusev turned on Penta, who was yelling at my screen. I was like, you stupid masked man, have you never watched wrestling before? This was always going to happen, get in the game. Rusev really did go crazy after this as well. He was throwing everybody into barricade when he finally grabbed Dominik, and honestly, he was hurling him around as if he was a baby. As I told you before, do not throw babies. Rusev also went totally crazy one point and saw the Intercontinental title and said, I'm coming for you. I want to make it very clear, the most important word in that sentence is for. If you're a kid, don't worry about that sentence and let's just move on. Penta was then able to stop the accolade, so Dominik Mysterio was like, well, I'm going to get a chair. And he tried to do the Eddie Guerrero thing where he threw it at Rusev, but the referee turned around and was like, dude, this means nothing. It's a triple threat match. We fight under WWE rules, which means there are no disqualifications. So Rusev got this chair and just smashed it into Dom when Penta ran at the corner and he kicked it into Rusev's face. I was like, man, consider me sports entertained. We also got the Mexican Destroyer there because you have to see it when eventually Rusev was able to apply the accolade when the bell rang. And everybody thought Rusev had won, but he hadn't. Dominik Mysterio got that stupid hammer and he was ringing the bell. Rusev sold this so wonderfully. It was like someone had told you, oh my gosh, you won the lottery. And you're like, yes, you won $1. Instantly, you turned into the angriest man ever. Now I think about it, this may have been the best match on the show because it was so damn funny. When we eventually do turn Dominik as well, he has to keep doing this stuff. You can't get rid of it, but he just has to do it against the heels. Like Rusev is a bad guy, so the fact that Dominik screwed him over, nobody looks at the condom and goes, oh, I can't believe you do that. We just go, ha ha ha, you're a delight. Dom made sure that Rusev went into Simba the Steel Steps as well, and they were having a terrible evening. And during all of that, he got the hammer. He was going to murder Penta, but of course Penta was able to steal it away from him. When Penta went to murder Dominik, this was so good. Dominik moved, so Penta hit Rusev, and you would have thought that Rusev was his mother. Like, why was Penta so upset about this? You're fighting Rusev, but very sadly, he did freeze because he is a babyface. So Dominik smacked him one, he hit the smash of the frogs, and he got the 1, 2, 3. Genuinely, man, sometimes you don't need to overthink things. You should just, I don't know, take wrestling and deliver it in its simplest form. This was great. I love the IC title. Please put Dominik in more feuds for it. The rumor is he may even be going at Survivor Series against John Cena. Give me that one. Giving it up? I thought this ruled. Speaking of Cena too, he had a video segment here where he basically confirmed that we are going to have a tournament. The rumors are true. 16 people from Raw, SmackDown, and outside of the WWE universe will be entered into it. And no, it's not going to be Edge, for goodness sake. And nor should it be Edge. He signed a contract elsewhere. Not everything has to be like, oh, we have to do this stuff. Probably going to be more someone like Joe Hendry, who actually likely will be in the tournament. Also, the name of this thing is It's the Last Time Tournament, which is the worst name for a tournament ever, but I like this idea. Being the final opponent of John Cena should be treated like a championship. Couple of thumbs. The main event was after this, Jey Uso versus CM Punk for that World Heavyweight Championship, and we talked about this all week long. The Seth Rollins injury was very unfortunate, and it did ruin the plans. So just look at Raw and go, who's the most overpopular babyface? The answer is CM Punk. So what do? You give the title to CM Punk. That's what we did. No notes. Now, Jay did make sure to shove CM Punk at one point here, maybe to act like he was being a bad guy. We're going to have to wait and see. And why even talk about the rest of the match when everybody just wants to talk about one bit? Because yes, CM Punk went to do his slow neck breaker on Jey Uso. I don't know what happened here, but Jay kept rotating, so they all fell down. Maybe CM Punk then did give him quite a stiff kick to say, dude, what are you doing? When he went back to the neck breaker. Now listen, of course you're allowed your opinion. If you think Jey Uso is the worst wrestler ever, fine. I don't think we should go to such levels after one spot. But I do also think it's one of those occasions where if you have been in the ring and you have been a wrestler, you know that this stuff can happen for no reason whatsoever. It's proper 2 + 2 = potato. Like, I wrestle and sometimes I do something and in the back I'm mortified. I'm like, I don't know what happened. My brain deceived me. Now listen, that doesn't have to affect your overall opinion, but I think sometimes we can just go shrug emoji, all right, it doesn't matter. What was more interesting to me is that at one point the fans were saying, Jay, you absolutely suck. And I swear he reacted to these in a bad way. When he Samoan dropped CM Punk, and it is okay because he is Samoan, but he hit him so hard, CM Punk's t-shirt essentially came off, so things were getting kinky. Not kinky. CM Punk eventually got the GTS, but he hit Jay too hard because he rolled out the ring. For some reason, Punk sold that like Jey Uso was a ghost. I was like, just go after him, man. What are you so shocked for? And when he did, he took a bottle of water and he poured it over Jay's head. I mean, why not? From here, it was just you hit your finish, I hit your finish, I'm going to take a spear, you can take a GTS, and we just dance around the houses. And yes, CM Punk, I think in total, had to hit 5 GTSs. It just goes back to what we said earlier. I just think we need to get back to the day where one will do the job. And actually, CM Punk was kind of the outlier before this match, but I get it, man. WWE sees Jey Uso as a top star, so they were trying to protect him like a jail. There was a really cool bit when it looked like Uso was about to be GTS, but instead he locked in the sleeper as a callback to his Gunther matches, but Punk hadn't got his 8 hours, so he was able to reverse that. He locked in the Anaconda Vice, then Jey Uso got out of that, and he was going for spears, and CM Punk was versing it, when essentially Punk got 1 GTS. Jey Uso did that bounce rope thing, which basically defies the laws of physics. CM Punk then hit another GTS, 1, 2, 3, brand new heavyweight champion. So what a wild ride this has been for CM Punk, whether you like him or hate him. Imagine I told you 4 years ago this was going to go down. And actually, I just want to give a massive salute to WWE. There was no run-ins, there was no shenanigans, there was no division doing their thing. We just had a championship, and one man won, and one man lost, and sometimes that's all that you need. If we lean too far into the shenanigans, then when we have shenanigans, they won't mean as much, and also, not every single big event has to end with a surprise. Then it doesn't become a surprise, it just becomes boring, so I was a massive fan of that. Now, I will say they didn't really have the chemistry I expected them to have. Like, this match was fine at best, I would say. But I am going to give it an up overall because, again, the biggest babyface on Raw is now the world champion. It's not the ideal scenario. The WWE had their backs against their wall. I think they made the right call. That rhymes, so it must be true. So yeah, it gets an up. Am I clamoring for Jey Uso versus CM Punk round 2? No, I don't think so. But sometimes the ends justify the means. Also, Jey Uso did do a very interesting Instagram post where he said something like, screw y'all, and or you win y'all, and it had the, middle finger emoji. So maybe we are going to use this to turn Jey Uso heel. Maybe after tonight is time. I still love the guy. We wait and see. I would also now be writing down on my big booking pad piece of paper that Bron Breakker is about to do some stuff with this World Championship. But this Saturday's main event does get an up because, again, Jade Cargill is a champion, CM Punk is a champion, and when you do kind of 2 major championship changes on one show, well, unless it was an absolute disaster, it's always going to be all right by me. up. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know how wrong I was about Saturday night's main event. Otherwise, I'll never learn. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs or SmackDown, so you get all my thoughts about wrestling this week. And again, nordvpn.com/WhatCulture. Otherwise, my friends, have a terrific day, and I will see you next week.